Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Grover Bledsoe was a man who served his country in the Marines in World War II and participated in the battles of Guam and Saipan and Iwo Jima, and then returned home to be a devoted wife, husband and family man, to be one who gave himself in service to others, and who was an ardent witness for Jesus Christ and his church. I have to tell you in the brief statements that I'll make that Grover Bledsoe was one of the major influences in my life, because at one point he was both my Sunday school teacher and my scoutmaster. So the truth is that there was a period of time when I was under his tutelage 2 days every week. I had him for Sunday school on Sunday morning and during the week at Scouts. So he taught me a lot. He taught me some practical things. For instance, which one of us has not sometimes gotten out a garden hose or an extension cord and found it to be in a tangle that you can't hardly undo? Well, you know that one of the things Scouts do is learn ropes. And when we were learning ropes, one of the things Grover did, and you remember he was a telephone linesman, he showed us very carefully how you properly put away a rope. That you fixed it in such a manner and put it to the end so that when you went to get it out, it was perfect, and you just pulled out one end, unrolled it, and then got it back. And so I tell you that throughout my life, when a lot of times when in my family, I've found a garden hose that one of the other members of my family, who shall remain nameless, had left in a pile and a heap and a tangle. I would say Grover Bledsoe wouldn't like it. And of course he did teach me a lot about the natural world and scouting. For instance, I remember one time when our scout troop from Ridgedale Methodist Church went to a jamboree for this an area. We had it at Chickamauga. There were 23 scout troops involved. And at the end of the scouting experience, the highest reward that was going to be given for our experience was the Pioneer Award. And to earn that award, you had to go in with nothing pre-prepared. You could take stuff to fix, that is to cook and all of that, but you couldn't take canned goods or something already prepared. You had to start from scratch. And we had to boil water, and actually they timed us. Some of the authorities of the whole event timed each troop and how fast they could boil water without using a match. And Grover had taught us to use a magnifying glass and let the sun shine through it on a dry leaf until it smoked, and then blow on it until it started a fire, and we had the best time. And as a matter of fact, that we did all the things that you had to do. We built our own table. We got out there, we cut some parts of a tree and we placed them together and made legs and fixed a table for all our supplies. Anyway, we left winning that Pioneer Award, and a lot of it was Grover's responsibility. taught us a lot. In fact, he taught me how to make sassafras tea. He did. And I won't describe how you have to do that, but about 2 years ago, I found some sassafras shoots on our property, and I got the little scrapings and made me some sassafras. You dry it after that, and so this last winter we have a wood stove, and I sat in front of our wood stove and drank sassafras tea. But anyway, he taught me a lot of simple and natural things. But he also, in Sunday school, taught me a love for this particular book and for living in Christian character throughout your life. And throughout the years now, I have bumped into a lot of the boys and girls that knew Grover as a teacher or a scoutmaster, and we have celebrated his influence on our lives. So I knew him that way, and then, of course, we all know that Grover was one who dearly loved his wife and his family. He and Lynette were as much a team as any couple I've ever known. But they loved each other. They had a lot of things in personality that were alike. They had good senses of humor. They loved to laugh. They were welcoming to other people. Their house was open. And it was, their love for each other was obvious, and their love for their children, and their love for others. And in fact, I think most of us would agree that at the latter part of his own life, Grover probably injured his own health, taking care of Lynette when she was very ill. But they had a love that was exemplary. Of course, he also gave his life in service in many ways, and he was an ardent believer in the Christian message and mission. He loved teaching young people, and so for about 3 years in the junior high Sunday school class, he was my teacher. He helped me to learn to love the Scriptures and also to love the Christ of the Scripture. And so that was wonderful, but guess what? When he got later in years and wasn't teaching young people any longer, he started teaching adults. In other words, he never gave up his desire to share the good news of Jesus Christ. Then, of course, we know that in the last years of his life, he himself had some health struggles. But my dad had a saying that has always meant something to me as I think about people who come to a point when they're struggling in their health. My dad would some of his friends who were elderly and maybe started having health issues, he would say, he or she, they have the K-healthies. In other words, none of us choose to have health issues that cause debilitation. But as we remember Grover, we remember him in his strengths and the contribution that he made to our lives and the witness that he gave that a person who can be what we would call a man's man could be a devoted follower of Jesus Christ. So today, as we come to this moment, I think the proper thing for us to say is, well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joys of your Lord. And let me just read briefly this 6 verses from the 21st chapter of Revelation. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first one and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared like a bride for her husband. And I heard a voice from the throne saying, now the dwelling of God is with people, and he will be their God, and they will be his people. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. He who was seated on the throne said, I'm making everything new. Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true. And he said to me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To him who is thirsty I will give to drink without cost from the spring of the water of life.